Hey everyone, this podcast is made possible by people at patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv, but we get it. Sometimes you just can't afford to subscribe to your favorite Patreon people. So if you want to help out the network, you can go to Duckfeed.tv/tipjar and hit that Amazon referral link. That allows Duckfeed to get a little bit of a kickback when you buy stuff on Amazon, like maybe the next couple of volumes of X-Men the Animated Series. You're going to need both of them to keep up with the show because this series is ridiculous when it comes to continuity. Anyway, that link is duckfeed.tv/tipjar. Thanks, and enjoy this episode. I'm Jeremy Greer.
I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where me and Gary cover all things related to the X-Men. Today we are reading your feedback from Season 3 and really just all things X-Men related. We didn't really put a filter on this or anything. How are you today, Gary?
I'm okay. Yeah, medium. I just,
I'm going to out you because I know you won't probably say on the podcast, and we're recording this like the day before it's going to be out. So happy birthday. You're recording on your birthday for some reason.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. It's happening on my birthday. I'm just working. Just working for the birthday. Yeah, there's a long history of Duckfeed and birthdays. My birthday is actually the anniversary of the first episode of WOF. So the first episode of Watch Out Fireballs came out 6 years today.
Oh, wow.
Which is the birth of modern Duckfeed. Like, Cole had done the level, or Don't Tree before that. So the network had been around, but the modern era, or however you want to define it, when I came around, started on my birthday as well. So it is a momentous day for the network. I think it's Bernie Sanders' birthday as well. There's all kinds of joy to spread around about September 8th. So.
It's 11 days before my wife's birthday, so you guys are pretty close
fantastic.
together. Yeah.
Well,
you have any suggestions? By the way, she doesn't listen to this podcast, so actually, she literally just.
Well, there's my number one suggestion right there. God damn it!
Here's 15 episodes of this podcast I've been ignoring you to record.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. She actually just started listening to the podcast, so in about 6 months she's going to catch up to this, and she's going to be like, "What the fuck, Jeremy?"
Well, that's very sweet of her. I was kidding about that. I feel like nobody has any pressure to listen to anything. I never made a significant other listen to a podcast I've done.
I don't make Autumn at all because I think that's really super weird. But she has chosen to do so with this and Monster of the Week, so I'm very grateful for that. She seems to like.
It's very nice of her. Mm-hmm. Yeah, big fan of that Autumn.
I listen. Yeah. She's a cool chick. So
yeah,
we are here. We have a variety of questions and prompts and things to talk about, and all from our listeners, our lovely listeners. Do you want to just jump into that?
Yeah. Just before we get started, you can send these in. We put a call out for these at the end of the season, but you can send these in whenever you like, either to Duckfeed.tv/contact. You can also just send them directly to my email box at Gary@Duckfeed.tv. Either or is fine. And if you hear this and you're like, man, I missed the cutoff, you have not missed the cutoff. There will be several more of these, so you can get in for the next one. That'll be it'll be a few months down the road, but you can get in for it. So just go ahead and send in your prompts, your X-Men questions, your season related questions, whatever you like, anytime.
And I keep these, so if you send them to those places or you go to Days of Future Cast/contact, I keep track of all these all year round. So I'm continually adding to this list to make sure we're building the list, Gary. Hashtag.
Oh, excellent. List. Yeah, so we will we're going to sell your information to Equifax.
I would just like to buy my information off of Equifax at this point.
Perhaps it was always stupid to trust a private company with literally all of our personal information. That's like a kind of thing that made sense in the past and just no longer makes sense.
it probably didn't necessarily make sense in the past. We just had no reference for what it could do, right? Like nobody understood what getting their identity stolen was in 1979, I'm sure.
Or no options. Like it was just like, oh, you have to play ball with us if you want to deal with credit reports, and you want to deal with that because people are going to ask us whether you're a good person or not, and you want us to say yes. So, or you want to know what we're going to say. So,
I like to
complicated feelings.
I don't like to do that thing where like, hey, did you see this tweet? But hey, did you see this tweet? The one going around saying like, oh, Equifax, you missed one payment back in 2008, so now you can't buy a house. And then now re-release your social security number. Whoops, sorry.
Yeah, no biggie, no biggie.
Yeah. No problem there.
Yeah, we're fine. I was looking up stuff about that today, and it was making me mad. Like the company's response. It was making me mad. Like they're saying, they're sorry and all that jazz, but like, I don't know. It's not enough. I want them to be like, I don't know, like publicly shamed. I want them to have to like, I want an Equifax representative to come to my house and like give me like $740. Just like, here you are.
I want the concept of credit to be demolished by those dudes that stole sold all
like
of their
a Fight
stock.
Club scenario.
Yeah, I just want that to happen with the three companies until nothing is left, and everybody owns everything. Communist America.
There we go. That's actually what I want. I changed my answer. That $740 seems modest in comparison now.
When we bought our first house, I was a young child. I was a young man, and I didn't exactly like keep up with all of my monetary and financial shit the way I was supposed to. So we started pulling credit reports, and I had like some blemishes, right? Like I had like a hospital bill that I didn't pay, and then one of them was that was on the credit was an $800 charge that I had not paid from 1997. And this was in 2004. So, and it was to a magazine company. And all of these credit reporting companies were saying that I had paid, or that I had subscribed to $800 worth of magazines somehow in 1997. That is a lot of magazines. I mean, that's a lot of magazines. And it turns out, Gary, I actually did it. So I'm on the hook for this one. They called me at my workplace, which was a Babbage's, and said like, hey, do you want to subscribe to this magazine service? If you subscribe to this first one, we're going to give you a second one for free. And dumbass 17-year-old Jeremy was like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's do that. And then I don't remember receiving any of the magazines and totally forgot about it, but they had my voice recorded from 1997 that they played back for me. Because I was refusing it, right? I was like, I've never got any fucking magazines from y'all. What are you talking about? And they were like, is this you, sir? Click. And like, I didn't have a squeaky voice, but definitely like tiny voice J, right?
That's very funny.
Yeah. Fucking credit companies.
Yeah, predatory. It's all very predatory.
It is.
And it's like, there's a whole lot of like, don't be a victim. But there's also like, why do we live in this world with these shitty predators?
This isn't one of our questions, but who do you think has the worst credit out of the animated X-Men animated team? It's got to be either Gambit or Wolverine, right?
Well, I was thinking Gambit at first, but I can also see him being like no credit. Like, cause he gets people to pay for things for him, and things like that. So I think Wolverine, cause he's had so much time, to do it. Like he's, at some point during how long he's been alive, like he's gonna like, oh, I'd like a boat, and then he's gonna get credit for a boat. And then he's like, I don't know, what are they gonna do to me if I don't pay it?
I'm functionally immortal and I have claws.
Yeah, I'm immortal and I got a boat. So I'm out of here on the fucking Sun Spear. Sun Spear is a town in Game of Thrones. Sun Chaser.
That's
boat. The Logan boat. But so I think probably Wolverine. Or like surprise twist, like Professor X.
I was just about to say that because he's got so many car notes. Like who knows what that dude is actually worth?
Yeah, because he just gives them to somebody, but then just says don't worry about it. But he's still probably making payments, and they're in his name at least.
I would love to get into the sit down with Xavier's accountant, or do you think he's just like soloing that stuff himself? Like, do you think he's just like trying to manage his own money, do his own taxes kind of guy?
So it kind of depends on the continuity, because in the comics, Iceman is an accountant. So I imagine they had that, locked up. But in the show, Iceman has long been fired. So maybe he's like, I can do this myself. And he just sits down with QuickBooks and like, what the fuck? trying to download the tutorial.
Why is it a subscription service now? I like buying apps and having it on my laptop. Xavier getting mad at new software pricing models is maybe like kind of the only Xavier solo run that I want to read.
There's not a lot of him being like a cranky old man, but he's got to be like a pretty cranky old man about all that stuff. Like he sees like iPods and stuff in the halls and has a real problem with it.
These fucking mutants and their goddamn iPhones.
Yeah. Their Snapchats and their Instagrams.
Oh, Professor Xavier, we hate you so much.
Hashtag. Let's get into our questions. I'll get started here with Joe from Illinois, who contacted us via the contact forum. And Joe says, so I had to share a hilarious story regarding X-Men 3. It's kind of a long story, but the payoff is worth it. We'll be the judge of that, Joe. When X-Men 3, I bet you it is. That's how it would be. When X-Men 3 was in theaters, I happened to be in Valparaiso, Indiana. I'm not sure if I pronounced it right. In Indiana, with my now ex-wife, checking out the law school. We were bored and there was nothing to do, so we went and saw X-Men 3 at what turned out to be a very rundown theater in a crappy neighborhood. The theater was only us and a group of a half dozen or so alpha male dude bros of various races. Eventually, we reached the point in the movie where the X-Men go looking for Cyclops after Jean kills him at the weird lake with all the floaty shit. Wolverine looks over in shock and says something along the lines of, I think she killed Scott. At this point, one of the dude bros, a very large African-American man with a very deep Michael Clark Duncan-esque voice, claps his hand and screams, "Woo! Fuck that guy!" It was the only time in the entire movie that anyone reacted in any way, and it was with uncontrollable laughter.
I love the idea of a dude bro just like having enough context of the X-Men of like going to see these movies for the last 10 years and be like, man, fuck Cyclops. I hate that dude.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
And being super excited. Like we didn't talk about that. We talked about it a little bit about how we were like kind of disappointed that they killed Cyclops basically off screen in the first 20 minutes of that movie. But like being the other side of that coin and of just being super excited about it is great.
Yeah, they're all repeal and replace Cyclops, and we're all like improve Cyclops. Make him better.
Exactly.
Yeah, I told this story before, and it's a secondhand story, so it's not super great. But my friends Austin and Zach went and saw Spider-Man in the theater, and during the part where Spider-Man hangs upside down and kisses Mary Jane, someone in the theater yelled out, "She a hoe." For real. Which I think owns. Like,
I love it's weird how like there's a certain type of movie audience and I'm totally okay with doing that, right?
Yeah.
Like I went to see Get Out, and for whatever reason, like there was just a group of people that were extremely into that movie, and that would be kind of like if you asked me, I'd say like anybody talking to that movie is an asshole. But like every once in a while, you would just hear "Get the fuck out" or stuff like that, and like it just added to the experience at that point. Sometimes that stuff really works for me, and then other times I just want to strangle somebody because they're talking in a movie theater.
There were a bunch of reviews that Get Out where people were saying like, "I can't believe why didn't he get out?" I'm like, it's the fucking title of the movie. Like that's the struggle of the movie is why he didn't do that. What do you mean? Like, why didn't he leave? It's literally the title. So come on, people.
Our second question or prompt is from Duckfeed friend Sam Bear.
Hey, Sam.
He says, in your opinion, would X-Men 3 have been a better movie if Multiple Man was played by Jamie Madrox from the band Twiztd? If you've never seen him act, he has a reasonably large role in the film Big Money Hustlers and its prequel, Big Money Rustlers, both of which are available to stream if you have Amazon Prime, if you don't already own copies of them. Thank you, and where's Gene? Sam.
Those are the Juggalo films. Where they're Juggalo cowboys. Are the Big Money Hustlers and Rustlers.
Is that what that is? I've never heard. Oh, wow. It sure is.
Yeah. Yep. It's something. No, I did not know about. He didn't know his name was Jamie Madrox. My knowledge in the extended Twiztd verse is like extremely low. So
that's my knowledge is everything that Sam put into this email. For this. I am not familiar with the band.
It's just
Twiztd.
Gone up 10,000%,
and I don't like it, Sam. Thank you. I don't. This is not fun for me. This is. I don't want to know about these things. Now I'm gonna have to go and stream these stupid movies because I can't help myself.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm kind of curious, and especially now that like the weird thing that happened where juggalos are good now. You know, like where it's like, oh, like they're gonna go fight Nazis. Like
speaking of Twiztd,
yeah, it's weird, right? Like it's just like, oh, like those are our brothers in arms. They're gonna go punch a bunch of Nazis in the face in Washington. Whoop whoop. You know, like sign me up. Like I'm into these guys now.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to watch their movie, but
I don't want to watch their movies. I don't want to listen to their music. I don't want to go to their events.
Oh, I would never listen to an album. Like I think it's extremely bad music.
Have you ever met
but just like
juggalo?
as guys? I've met a lot of people I consider to be like closet juggalos.
Okay.
You know, like it just they seemed like juggalos to me, but they weren't like in full regalia. You know?
I knew one woman. She was a friend of my friend's. Like she went to the same college that my friend did, and that was the first person I'd ever met that I think first and last person that I ever met that knew what juggalos were, and then like were really really into it. Like that's all she wanted to do was listen to the jug. So
yeah, the family,
the fam, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, probably not for me in general, but if they're gonna go and march a bunch, against a bunch of shitheads, like good on them.
Sure, yeah.
Like no, war makes uneasy alliances.
It's amazing what side you're on with people that all hate Nazis together. Like it's amazing what brings people together. Actually, no, it's not. They're fucking Nazis.
Yeah, it's literally it actually brought a bunch of people together at one very specific time in a real big bad way. So yeah. So this is me. This is Joe, a different Joe, presumably, who wrote in, and Joe says, "Hello, friends. As Futurecast superfans, me and my brother Jimbo are having a heated dispute." And I love people named Jimbo. I love it when Simpsons names make their way into real life. Like I haven't met a Millhouse, but someday I will.
I've known a lot of Jimbos before
really?
Simpsons started. Yeah. Jimbo was a popular name in North Louisiana for some reason. I knew like 3 when I was 10. It was ridiculous.
Wow. So Joe and Jimbo, he continues. I think only you boys can sell this once and for all. So here goes. Is Cyclops' voice actor extremely, I do mean extremely, good? Also, in your opinions, is there a voice actor on the show that is so true to the character that they have become an essential part of the character when you conjure them up in your mind? I'm sure at the very least we can agree that it's not Gene. The show is great, as are you both. Thank you always. Thank you, Joe. Thanks for the kind words. The second part, I think that they landed Magneto.
Yes.
I've said that before, but I think he's great. I've liked like screen depictions of Magneto as well. But I think that the TV show has done a really, really good job of that kind of tone and everything. And that is very close to my Magneto, like my comic Magneto.
In the app, if I can't pick Magneto, I'd have a hard time choosing between Apocalypse or Wolverine. Because
the Wolverine is really great too,
and I think Wolverine is the answer to like the one true to the character. Like that Wolverine, and we've talked about this before. Kind of defined my that's the voice I hear in my head when Hugh Jackman talks. So
yeah, and it's like Hugh Jackman's good at it too. Like, is Wolverine the fictional character has gotten off the bus like the most accurately? There's not really a bad Wolverine out there. Other than the Pride of the X-Men.
Yeah, Pride of the X-Men was pretty bad.
But like Wolverine is other than that, like Wolverine is batting real well. It's like batting an 800. I don't know baseball.
It's 5,000. Batting 5,000.
Yeah,
he's batting Deltron 30-30. That's what he's batting.
Yeah, just big numbers. I understand that big is better than small.
Somebody in the Slack was talking some yang about I guess there's a Wolverine anime, and which I knew there was an X-Men anime, but I didn't know there was a Wolverine specific anime, which I'm not surprised at that at all. But they said that that's pretty bad, so maybe that's the only negative time.
Well, I think we can probably find the common thread in those bad things between the X-Men anime and the Wolverine anime. Did you say talking yang?
Yeah,
is that an expression?
I guess so. I use it a lot. You've never heard me say that?
No, like you definitely never said it on this show. This got to be one of the things in the other podcast, because I would have noticed if you had said talking yang.
I say talking yang a lot. I think that's me and Autumn have picked that up from somewhere, and we say it at each other. Like, that dude's talking a bunch of yang about my shit or whatever. Like,
what does it? What does it mean then?
Somebody's talking a bunch of mess about me. Like, someone's talking a bunch of trash.
Like talking shit.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Because at first it sounded like somebody was just talking it up, but then they said it was bad, so I got you a little bit, but I wasn't sure if it was good or bad to talk yang.
Man, I guess that's a terrible expression if you can't pick it up for your context clues, huh?
Well, I did eventually. So it's a workshopable expression. The Cyclops actor, I think, is like, boy, extremely good. Yeah. He's I think he has a real problem with range. So it's like, it depends on how you're defining an actor. Like, he's actually like really good when he needs to forcefully emote. But they don't give him a lot of opportunity to have other emotions other than just like, Dad. Stay out of my house, Dad. These just kind of, robots, huh? Like, just lots of like exclamation point statements. They don't give him a lot of room to like do very much else. Mm-hmm. I guess there's a couple like tender moments with Jean, that he has, but not very many. Like, for the most part, he's kind of going in and kind of yelling things. And I think he is very good at that. So it's hard for me to say extremely, and I mean extremely good like Joe does. But he is like, he's solidly above average. Like, and I think the voice cast in general is like way well above average for the show. Mm-hmm. But I think even within that, Scott's very good.
Yeah, I think it's hard for me to like say it's a 100% win across the board, because like you said, anytime that there's a quiet moment, it kind of comes off as a little hammy. But anytime that he's screaming not Gene or Dad is a good time for me. So in that case, I would say extremely, but not extremely good. So I can't go two extremes on that. I'm sorry. I can only do one
extreme.
Yeah.
Yep. So I guess you guys are both wrong in settling the conflict.
Yeah.
Somebody's saying he's bad and somebody's saying he's extremely, extremely good.
Tell us how you and Jimbo are going to settle this now that we were not able to do this for you. Write us back and let us know, because I'm curious how you guys settle that kind of stuff in your neck of the woods. Mm-hmm. Our next question is from Gabe the DM, who is at In Party Conflict on Twitter. If you would have any superpower, what would it be? And conversely, what's the worst superpower in the X-Men continuity, in your opinion? I feel like we've answered this one in the past, but
it's okay. We can answer again.
Oh yeah, because I think mine has changed.
If I had $1 for every time someone asked me and Cole what we're going to do if Bloodborne 2 comes out, I wouldn't be like rich, but I feel like I would have like $70.
You would be at Ruth Chris tonight having a nice steak on the Bloodborne 2 fans.
Yeah. I'd be at Equifax reparations money, not.
God, if they come out and this like, here's your check for $1.42, like AT&T did that
totally.
Settlement. Oh my fucking God.
Yeah. March.
By cashing this check, you waive any of your rights to counsel.
Fuck.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
So worst power, again, doing the easier one first. And then there's lots of different mutants that have shitty powers. Like, a lot of them like literally make them die. So it's hard to to argue with those. Like, there's that kid made of gas and stuff in the Morrison run. But like, as far as like X-Men people might have heard of, or X-Men that show up around, like Marrow's got it pretty rough. I think that the Marrow's got a pretty bad power. It's pretty gross and like looks really painful.
Yeah,
like
it doesn't look
out of her skin.
Yeah, that doesn't look like it doesn't look sanitary either. Like, that feels like she would have like all of those protrusions being infected all the time.
Yeah, you can't like get like, oh, like I spilled a little bit of hot sauce on my shirt, and then like, no, it got on your bone. Like you like constantly getting things on your bones that you're not supposed to get. And as far as I know, you're not supposed to get anything on your bones. Like, just the things that are already there, but you're not supposed to add to your bones. I'm
not a bone scientist, but I will agree with that statement.
Yeah. I think that, so that would be a very like, and I don't remember if she has like a healing factor too, but if not, like, Jesus Christ, because she rips them off. If she doesn't like, it's like how rhinos like wear down their own horns and stuff. Like, she rips them off and throws them as daggers so she can fight. But if she doesn't, they just keep growing. So like that's a like a level of maintenance I think is very, very disturbing. Like, oh, I have to break off this like spine protrusion that's growing. You can't sleep. that always struck me as a pretty bum deal as far as a power.
I never really thought about that, but that's going to create a real disposal problem. Like my real time job, my real life job is working in the utilities business, so I'm like loosely knowledgeable about how sewer systems in rural Louisiana work, right? And like I can tell you that nobody wants to put a bunch of bones in a sewer system. Like it's not going to be healthy for the device at your house or at the plant. Like nobody's going to want that. And if it happens a lot,
just throw them away.
But where? Like you're gonna stack up a whole fucking landfill full of bones.
And the cops are gonna have a lot of problems with you constantly throwing away human bones.
I guess if you sold them to like Warner Brothers or Sony, so they can make like post-apocalyptic death fields, right? Like they could use them as sets. Like here's a bunch of bones for the latest Transformers movie where all the Transformers kill the humans or whatever's happening in Transformers right now.
Something.
I think my answer on worst superpower. I was just kind of sitting here thinking, and it's not necessarily bad, but it's something that occurred to me as we've been watching the X-Men movies. That Pyro has control over Pyro, but can't actually create fire. Has control over fire, but can't actually create it. Like that's just kind of a bummer, right? Like if he were tied up in an empty room, he'd be like, "Well, I'm a was it a Category 5 mutant or whatever, but I'm really useless because there's not a candle in the room that I can do something with." So it's not the worst, like you said, because there's people that literally die mutants that literally die. So
yeah. And then what's a superpower I would have? I feel like that's probably changed too for me. I think in the past I've said like turning invisible, and I've said like not having to sleep, things like that. Did last time did I say save states? Because it might be save states.
I don't think you said save states last time. I'm trying to remember.
It might be save states. Like I can start a save state, I can do whatever I want, and if it goes bad or I die or whatever, I can just go back. So I can try lots of shit.
So like very localized time travel, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like I can turn the world into Westworld for like a minute. And it's like it's not like I'm gonna like do terrible things. I'm not gonna murder people or something. I just want to like, as always, it just goes down to me wanting to taste antifreeze without consequences,
or like
as I keep mentioning,
or if you actually wanted to murder someone, just like you're just so mad at them, you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna murder them, and then reset it. You're like, oh, that feels good. Now I'm not as mad at these people anymore.
Like that, it's like
I've murdered them once.
Yeah, like and then it made me feel like, oh man, I never want to do that again. I feel sick.
Oh, you know what you just did?
Murder games.
You just talked about this is the plot of Life is Strange. I don't know if you've played that or not, but that's
I haven't. No, that's interesting though.
The primary mechanic in that game is the chick can like rewind time for a certain amount of time, so you can have a conversation with an NPC and like say a bunch of shitty stuff and then rewind it and then start the conversation over to get different information out of them. So
that'd be incredible. Like that's because there's like people I was talking to my friend yesterday and realizing that like. I had this like weird realization that like I kind of have enemies, like they're not serious enemies. They're not like they're gonna storm my apartment or anything. But there are people where I'm like, yeah, I really don't fucking like this guy, and because of circumstances in life, I'm exposed to them a lot. And it's nobody. I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about Cole or anything. It's like it's people. But there are people which is like, oh, I just have to be around this dude, and I really don't like him. Like if I had to put a name on that, like that's my enemy. And it would be amazing just to like have a day of consequence free, just like, you know what, go fuck yourself, like you are, and just like really let those people have it and then rewind. Like, I think I'd be way into that.
It's a good superpower. You should play Life is Strange too. The dialogue is horrendously funny, but it's fun.
Yeah. I've always meant to, that those games are really up my alley. It's just like, I've been staring down it and it's like, it's not long, but it's 5 episodes and I'm like, I just haven't done it yet. How about you? What would you do?
After some work events this week, I think like just give me the basic ability to tell if somebody is telling me the truth or not. Like I just kind of want to know if somebody is lying to me after my crazy work week nowadays.
I've thought about that before. I also think that could turn into a real nightmare though.
Yeah, I guess because if anybody's like, I hope you have a good day, and they're like, no, you fucking don't.
Yeah, there's tons of like tons of little lies that like really hold society together, Yeah,
just a bunch of tiny white lies knitting the society together. Yeah, I guess maybe that's a worse superpower too. Yeah,
that'd be really rough. I'm kind of surprised they haven't done anything with that, like in the comics, or I haven't really seen that in fiction either. Where like exploring the dark side of that kind of quote unquote power.
I feel like I've seen that, but the only thing I'm remembering is the lion cat from Saga. But that's not like that cat just like says the word lying at you if you're lying. So that's not really like a deep dark thing.
Yeah, but still pretty similar. You know, like if I had a cat next to me that when someone wished me a good day and they didn't want me to have a good day and the cat said lying, I'll be like, oh fuck, you know, that sucks.
In that case, I'll take that back and I'll just say fireworks because everyone loves fireworks. I'll be Jubilee.
Yeah,
like,
that'd be pretty great.
Yeah, I'm just gonna like shoot some fireworks in the sky for some kids or something. That seems like that would make some people's day.
One day a year, very popular.
You're next with Mai's answer.
My says on the Slack, if you want. So I guess it is up to us whether we want to answer this question. Thank you. No, I
meant to delete
that. Do you have a preference for when the show takes a straight idea from the comics and tries to map it onto the show, even though the history from the comics might make it understandable, even though that history that might make it understandable is absent? Or when the show takes a theme and a character and adapts it their own way, though the adaptation might be pretty bad? So to clarify, do we want a straight adaptation that makes no sense if you don't know the comics? So there's a lot of background missing, but it's very accurate. Or something that kind of takes that into account, but maybe the overall quality is not super great. It's not a very good adaptation. It's not the overall quality. It takes a lot of liberties with it, but it sets things up for everyone and is kind of more adapted to the medium.
As a fan of the comics, I kind of like just doing direct adaptations. Like we kind of saw this with the Dark Phoenix.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say the Acolytes. So,
no. Yeah,
we recorded that, but that's not out yet.
No. Just thinking about the Dark Phoenix saga and how I think that worked really well. Like I came out of that feeling pretty positive about the Dark Phoenix saga. So versus something like Mr. Sinister's trip to the Savage Land, which made no fucking sense to me whatsoever. So I guess I would prefer them to take those established kind of stories and adapt them in ways if they need to, but still have them kind of make sense to the characters.
Yeah. I think that I like because I have the benefit of all that context, I would prefer to have, I like something that is a better adaptation. Cause that's part of why you watch the show is to like see stuff you've read about and see stuff you already care about portrayed in a new way. I don't know if it necessarily makes for a better show because even stuff, that episode's going to come out in a while, this episode with the Acolytes. And like, that might be incomprehensible to somebody who doesn't know who the Acolytes are. But I had a lot of fun with it.
And just in general, when it comes to adapting media nowadays, I really I try my best to stay away from the concept of like, well, this doesn't match the source material, right? Because I feel like if you get stuck in there, like you're never going to be able to enjoy anything. So, trying to do that with the Dark Tower movie that just came out and failing miserably because it was so terrible. And I'm going to go see it this weekend, and I'm super excited about it because, like, by all accounts, it's a really great movie. And I'm, I haven't read the book in a while. I watched the Tim Curry version not too long ago, and that kind of holds up, mostly because of Tim Curry and mostly because of that one scene at the Chinese restaurant. But otherwise, it's kind of silly. I don't know when the last time you saw that movie is, but it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I've seen it semi-recently. I remember liking it quite a bit even then. Finding it, obviously it's silly, right? But it's like, I remember still liking it. Like there are weird things that happen in it that are still really cool scenes. Like the thing in the library where all the balloons are popping. And they're full of blood and no one's noticing, that's like getting on them and stuff. There are a lot of like haunting images and things in it. And it doesn't end with a dumb orgy in the sewers, which like, no matter like the Stephen King fans keep trying to convince me that's like, that like the worst thing anyone will say about that is that it's weird, but no one will say it's bad. And the implication seems to be that like, oh no, like the story somehow sells that all these like 12-year-olds fuck and finger bang each other. And that's how they fight Eldritch Evil. And like, man, it just seems like a way more obvious explanation that like, no, like it's a good story with this one kind of dumb part and Stephen King doesn't know how to keep his fucking characters' dicks in their pants. As a thing, like everyone's always got to finger bang somebody because like it's Stephen King and it's misguided. It's just a quirk he has because no writer is perfect, So I don't know. It's very hard for me to believe from the outside. And again, I've never read it. It's very hard for me to believe that like that scene feels good and is, emotionally resonant and like somehow okay.
It's weird because a lot of stuff that Stephen King was writing back in the day, and I'm a self-professed huge Stephen King fan, right? And I heard you talking about this on the episode of Radio Free Midworld that you did, that you missed Stephen King when you were younger, and that's definitely like where I came into I was reading Stephen King when I was fucking 11 years old. It was ridiculous. But like coming to those books when you're young, you think like, oh yeah, this is perfectly normal behavior for everybody, and then like rereading some of this now, like seeing really negative reactions from Autumn and Mai and Allison about when they were reading the book or listening to the audiobook about like some of the language being used and like some of the concepts and like some of the weird sexual abuse things that happen in the book, that even outside of the child sex orgy, right? Like there's some like, hey, give me a hand job in this trash pile or whatever. Like there's some weird stuff that happened in that.
Sure.
Like that's not
good sentence. Even outside of the child orgy, there's sometimes stuff like, give me a hand job in this trash pile.
Thank you, Stephen King, for your blessings upon the English language. But yeah, coming to that stuff now, I have a hard time I would have a hard time defending any of Stephen King's writings from that day. Like it's just now gotten to the point in the last 5 or 6 years where that dude can end a book without a, mentally challenged person or a person of color that is also mentally challenged having some like magic communication with the alien / abyss monster / whatever that fixes everything at the end, right? Like he's just now getting away from that. That was every book for about 10 or 15 years.
It's a real classic thing where like it's if you like something, not everything about it has to be good. It doesn't mean you can't like you can't like it. So it's like it's possible to like pick and choose the things that you like, and even about the things that you like. So it's like you can still really like Stephen King while admitting that there's some dumb bullshit in there, and it's that this feels like it's got to be one of those things,
Yeah.
And it's not even, it doesn't even mean he's bad or a bad person or a bad writer. It just means it was like at his time, he's figuring some stuff out,
Exactly.
I haven't read tons, but my understanding is that like, it's not just about those kind of endings. It's like endings in general or something. It took him a long time to figure out, and it's like, that's cool. Everybody moves at their own pace. Like I get it.
Endings are hard. Like you've written books, like ending a book is a hard thing to do. Like coming up with like some sort of satisfying conclusions for this like crazy bullshit that you just spent 1,000 pages writing about the end of the world. Like, it's going to be difficult to do that. And if it's a literal hand of God coming out of the sky, like that's just what you get. Sorry.
Yeah. It's way easier to come up with premises, and I think he's exceedingly good at that. And that's why like, he's one of the most popular authors of all time.
Premises and characters.
I've heard very good things about it, and I'm probably going to go see it too, even though like Tim Curry's performance as it is one of my all-time favorite things, and I will miss it. Whoever this new guy is, I'm sure he's fine, but like it's not Tim Curry is it, which I'm very into.
I'm actually familiar with this dude. There was in fact, I can bring this back to the X-Men. There's a TV show on Netflix. I don't actually know if it was anywhere else. Oh man, the name escapes me, but the actress that plays Jean Grey is on it, and there's like vampires and werewolves, and the dude that's playing it is one of the vampires, and they haven't been locked in a war for centuries or anything. It's not that thing. Hemlock Grove, maybe. I think that's it. Hemlock Grove.
That sounds right.
But he plays like a weird self-possessed vampire creature. Yep, that's the dude. Mm-hmm. So and he was really good on that too.
Interesting.
Shout out to Hemlock Grove for having some of the most absolutely disgusting werewolf transformations I've ever seen. Like it looks like they made it look like it was extraordinarily painful to turn into a werewolf, which is kind of my jam. Like if you're gonna like, I don't want werewolves to be sexy, right? I want it to be like a horrifying thing. So anyway, our good friend Dr. Static, aka Brian from Slack, he's asked which X-Men would be the most unpleasant to lick. Let's limit this to our animated cast because I feel like if we expand this into comics in general, like it's going to take a while.
There's a lot of
there's a lot of really unpleasant tongue feel mutants out there.
Yeah, there's one named Maggot. So, out of the animated cast, like probably Beast, I guess.
That's what I was going to go for as well, just because nobody likes to lick fur.
It's unpleasant. Like I kiss Roars all the time, and like it's not always great.
Yeah, that's not. Is he within earshot right now? Roars, you're a fine cat. Don't let him talk to you that way.
He's good. I'm just saying the kisses aren't always great. Like it's like,
Roars, that is abuse. You can talk to me. You have places to go. Call me.
Get out.
Yeah, I think it's definitely Beast. Although I would be tempted to compare Beast with Xavier's bald head.
Oh, sure.
Because I bet that's...
And licking Wolverine would be no great shakes. Of course. Like he's hairy and sweaty. but it's not quite as furry. And here's the thing: is like you lick Beast, you have to hear him talk about it. Like to be licked is unpleasant, but like a summer's day, that like oh my god,
fresh like the rain on a green forest mountain.
Yeah. Oh, okay, Hank, just hold still so I can lick you.
Yeah, look at this.
I didn't ask for your life story.
Gambit paid me $10 to do this. Just make it quiet, okay?
Everything coming up, Gambit.
Gambit, where are you getting all this money to pay people to lick the other mutants for you?
Gambit don't need to answer no question.
Gambit, take the fifth, yeah.
Gambit be pleading that fifth. Yeah, great like trade paperback. Like yeah, just like imagine that as being like a very long arc.
Yeah, like for it to be like a D level plot over like a 12-issue thing, right? Where just it keeps happening and nobody knows why. Like one person just keeps going to it just happened. Like why did you just lick me, Jubilee or whoever?
And then just in the background you see like a pair of glowing eyes.
Yeah,
like, and in the shadows. It's a big smile.
That's good. Yes.
Yeah, so probably Beast out of the comics for sure.
Mm-hmm. Or I guess shout out to licking Rogue, which would literally cause you to go to a coma if you're.
That's true. Even though hey, getting there, eh, Sherry?
It's not about the destination.
Yeah, it's about the. J App, aka Jared from Slack, says rank the least interesting X plots between Patches in Madripoor, Logan in Japan, X-Men in Space, or the Savage Land. That's a brutally hard question. And then why do you think we've never seen Dupe on the big or small screen? Dupe, for people who don't know, X-Static's character, it is a green alien creature who speaks his own language and stuff. Again, do the easiest question first. I think there's a chance we could see not Dupe in like one of the movies, but like if they did a new cartoon, they could have like Dupe be a receptionist or something like that, like they've done in the past in the comics. I could see that.
Dupe is just like an intelligent Slimer, right? Like I feel like if they just did Slimer's effect, you could pull that off. It just would look. It's just extraordinarily goofy for the tone that the modern day movies.
Yeah, people are like, why are you letting that monster live with you?
Why is Slimer in this? And why is Sansa talking? Why is Sansa Stark talking to Slimer? I don't understand what's going on in this movie.
It's like all my terrible convention T-shirts have all come true.
First they came for the Ghostbusters, and now they're back for the Ghostbusters. I just don't think that we'll see an adaptation of him on like in the movie, but I could totally see him showing up in a weird cartoon thing. So yeah,
cartoon, yes, movie, no.
Mm-hmm. All the recent Avengers cartoons have been super good, and like they pull crazy like weird villains from the Avengers stable. So if they ever get around to getting back the rights to X-Men and rebooting that and making it a franchise again, I could see that happening. So
yeah, that would be pretty neat. But what least interesting to most interesting of like my 4 least like favorite X-Men tropes.
So I'm gonna take a stab in the dark, and out of the 4 of these, I'm gonna say X-Men in Space is probably my favorite out of the 4. Like I was gonna say valedictorian of summer school. Like it's a good job, but you didn't not a big effort. But ranking these next 3 are going to be really difficult because I don't like any of them.
Like with Space X-Men, good things have happened in it. Mm-hmm. Right? Like there have been cool stories. It's not my favorite thing. I don't love X-Men in Space, but it's not impossible for cool things to happen in it. I will go ahead and for me, I'm going to put Patches and Madripoor at the bottom. I hate those comics, and I hate Wolverine dressing up as an alter ego that's just him with an eye patch and a white suit. Like I think it's so stupid.
It's really bad.
Chris Claremont got very obsessed with Madripoor. And then the 90s X-Men were really into Madripoor. Like people are very into Madripoor. And I don't really even understand what it's supposed to be. You know? Like I don't understand where it's supposed to be, what their culture is or anything like that. I've read tons of comics there. So yeah, fuck Madripoor. Yeah, I
live in America, so I want to see comics in Madra Rich. Am I right? That's where I want to see stuff. Yikes. I see this Patches and this Logan in Japan thing are kind of tied for me because I despise all of the samurai sword bullshit with Wolverine. Like it's just not anything that I'm into. So, but boy, I hate the Savage Land too. So I guess rank the least interesting X plots. I guess I would go most interesting is X-Men in Space. and then below that is, man, I guess I'm gonna go Savage Land and then Ty for the Wolverine bullshit in the bottom. I think that's where I'm gonna settle out.
That's very similar to, I think that's where I'm at too, because there's nothing cool that happens in the Savage Land, but like at the very least, all the X-Men are there. You know, it's not just Wolverine going off and just like essentially endlessly avenging ex-girlfriends. Like that's what happens with Wolverines in Japan.
A series of escalating ex-girlfriends. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, just a series of ex-girlfriends have been killed by the Silver Samurai or the Hand, two of the worst villains. And then it's just him, you know, going back there. So like mapping a samurai kind of mythology and mindset, like one, I might go out of my way, you know, go out on a limb and say like, I think samurais are really boring. But even if they weren't, like Wolverine doesn't need that. You know, Wolverine's already got his own personality, like turning him into this weird Ronin, like samurai thing. Like, I don't necessarily think it's a great fit. So that, and then, but it's even stupider, like if he has a patch and a white coat, which is pretty much what the Madripoor shit is. So it's the Wolverine solo stuff is going to be less than the team stuff, I think.
So
tough questions though.
Really, really tough questions, Jared. Like some of the worst of the worst X-Men on offer.
Yeah, that's intense. We have one last question.
Okay.
This is from our friend Serg as well that popped up in my email box. I have not read this yet, so we'll see if it's we'll see what it is. He says, so as you go into the most lore adapty season of the cartoon, are you on edge or looking forward to weird remixes of stuff you may or may not be familiar with the source material? Follow up, how funny is it that a Cronenberg film means that an iconic X-Men villain gets their name changed this year? It's The Brood. So that means there is a movie coming out called The Brood, and the X-Men villain gets cannot copyright infringe on that. Is what I think he's implying. Which I didn't know. The Brood have not shown up in the comics in a long time. I wonder if they will care to change them, or they'll just like retire them because they were always bad. But it is very weird.
Or just call it as like literally anything. Like call them xenomorphs.
Yeah. Or like the clutch, the hive. The Hive. There we go. I did it.
Sure, you got it.
Yeah, done. I looked forward to what episodes we have coming up in this last season. And when he says like lore adapty, like lore feels like a weird word to me because lore adapty, I think of like Phoenix stuff, like big X-Men mythology things. This is more like specific one-off storylines and shit. Like we get an episode about the Phalanx Covenant. We get all kinds of weird shit here, and I'm here for it because all of this stuff. The X-Men cartoon ended before I stopped reading comics, so they're not going to adapt anything I'm not familiar with. Yeah. This is all in my wheelhouse. So like the Phalanx Covenant, I lived it, man. Like it's like a really bad storyline, but I did the crossover. Like I bought every issue that tied into the Phalanx Covenant. Like I was all there for it. So
you had the poster and with the little check boxes and you were marking them off as you went.
Yeah. All my favorite Phalanxes. I was collecting them all. It was the birth of Generation X, and Generation X was like the first X-Men comic I got in on the ground floor and like went into the comic store and bought the #1, like weirdly proud that I was finally getting a chance to read an X-Men comic from the beginning, So it was, I am here for it. Here for it. I think it's going to be a cool season. Like probably is going to have some dumb shit, but I'm hoping that the bad episodes are very weird, which is how the season starts. Spoiler. Is with 2 episodes that it's hard to call good, but are like some of the weirdest things we've covered for the show. So,
yeah, we mentioned this earlier, but we've already recorded a few episodes because we're trying to get pretty significantly ahead because it makes our lives easier when we do that. And so we've dipped our toe in, and I've really liked part of that and disliked part of that. So, like I'm looking into the future episodes. Like I'm all in. I'm not nervous at all. Like I like anything that these X-Men animated series can bring to me. I am ready for. So, I do want to mention.
Look real quick.
Okay,
or go ahead.
I was going to go to a different question. I have one more thing I want to talk about. But if you were still on Serge's question, we can get there.
Oh yeah, I was just going to look and double check what episodes, like, because there's at least one other real weird thing we have to look forward to other than the Phalanx Covenant that I was like, they're adapting that. All of the Bishop's weird space imp stuff. Yeah, fuck man.
Yeah. Bishop and Shard. That's not
Shard.
Someone wrote into the Twitter and said that ended up being like some Fantastic Four character. His little time imp was like I don't know, like Immortalis or something.
That's odd. I don't know the Fantastic Four very well. Yeah, man, we get an episode with Cannonball. This is where the Morlock Christmas comes up during this season.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any chance that times out to be around when Christmas is?
It does. That's if my dates are right, and I haven't checked these against our actual release schedule lately. I have this coming out on December 2nd.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So we can have a whole Christmas themed episode.
That's So I am here for it.
I hate to tell you this, but that same episode that's going to be on Christmas is going to have we're going to cover the Lotus and the Steel, which is Wolverine takes a sabbatical to Japan. So.
I knew that was going to be the case. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. So thank you, Chris Claremont, for the worst episode titles ever.
Yeah.
I'm just going to call real quick as I was looking through our Twitter responses, just to make sure I'd collected all of them. I noticed that Bryan Wade had added us, and he was responding to a tweet that I didn't see, and he was just saying, "Hey, you should allow my friends over at the Days of Future Cast to help you with that." And so I looked to see who he was responding to. Bryan Wade is fucking adding porn stars about our podcast, Gary.
Oh, buddy.
He's adding April O'Neil, which is, I guess, like the dorky porn star, but Brian, why are you adding porn stars?
Help her out with what?
She was saying, I have the X-Men cartoon theme song stuck in my head. So at least it was a related thing. So I can understand it. But I just want to call Bryan Wade out, because who doesn't like to call Bryan Wade out?
I want to call him out because he's following porn stars on Twitter. It's like the saddest shit in the world, man. When you see that, like, you see somebody like, I mean, no offense to Ryan, but like, you see somebody like, so some porn star will be like, it's nighttime and I'm super horny. And then like somebody will be like, yeah, I bet you are. Like, on Twitter, everyone can see that, right? Like,
oh yeah.
When you're responding to this shit, like there's something about, interacting with, it always happens. And I know Brian's not like this, but like there's always happens when some like, alt-right dipshit does something, people will like clown on them by finding old like interactions they've had with porn stars on Twitter where they're like, I'll take those panties off your hands. Some kind of just like skeevy shit. They're just like, this is just there for everybody, man.
So I just skimmed through this chick's profile real quick, and then there's a tweet that says, "I had at Yeasty Bagels last night, and then had a dream about it." And then one of the responses is, "You are gorgeous." So thanks.
Exactly.
And that's a tame version. I've seen them way worse. Like can you dip your toes in this bagel and feed it to me or whatever? Like it gets really wild on the porn star responses. So
yeah. I did not know who this was. And I'm looking at it now, and come on, Brian. Even though there's this awesome thing where she's just like showing off this like big ugly bruise on her arm.
Yeah, that's
it's very funny. And like two things below it's her grabbing some girl's tits and stuff. But
sure,
I mean, it's and like here's the thing. I'm not here shaming anybody for what actually gets them off, right? Like if you're just like, man, I want to look at pictures of this girl naked, like go for it. That's great. I get it. It's just, but the interacting thing is just very like, come on, like, come on, bud. That's the thing that I think is the saddest shit is,
man, we could do
questions.
This is like Game Facts gold to me, Gary. Like just looking through some of it, and it's like best boobs in the whole world.
Yeah. I had no idea. So
she said this picture is just her topless when she says she's writing a porn script, and then this dude says, "Side note: that couch is awesome." Good job. Trying to win those brownie points, right? That's a great hat.
It's like it is an extremely like IKEA couch too. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so that's going to finish our feedback episode for today. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
There's another X-Men fan guy, too. There's an X-Men guy who's just like, wow, you look beautiful, in response to that. Like,
oh, really? That's awesome.
It's a porn star. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Anywho, we can end. We can end with that.
Are you sure? Well, because we can keep going.
Yeah. No, this is very Games Facts Gold, though. Like, looking at this stuff is very...
The only problem
Very
is we're going to have to create a Twitter that follows a bunch of porn stars so we can see all the replies.
If you go to any of these people who are responding and go to their timelines too, there's layers of kind of gold too, because like some of these timelines look exactly what you expect them.
Oh yeah.
To look like. I just like Twitter is just such a public place that I never thought of it as something like to do things like this. You know, just like it just seems like I feel exposed on Twitter. And it's not just because, like, you know, I don't have like tons of followers. It's just anybody could look, you know, you just Google it. And there, you know, there they are. Like, there I am, you know.
Well, and especially now that, like, Twitter surfaces all of your likes to other people. You know what I'm saying? Like so if you're doing nothing, and Facebook does this too. Like, I'm friends with, and he's not a coworker, but he's a work associate. And, like, made friends with him on Facebook against my better judgment, because I usually don't do that, but I was kind of in between a rock and a Facebook place, and this dude was like liking like porn basically on Facebook, like you know, this topless chick or whatever, or you know, like this if you know want to see her naked, or retweet if you want to do her or whatever, like that kind of bullshit. And like and the next time I saw him, I had to pull him aside and I'm like, hey, look, I'm down with whatever you want to do, but like, I don't know. Do you know how Facebook works? Because like, you know that all that's public. And he's like, what are you talking about? And like, I showed him like at the screenshot that I would say, it's like, this is showing up in like my feed. So it's definitely like showing up in all of your relatives. Like,
Further, you know that when a screen says retweet if this, you don't actually have to do it.
You don't actually have to do it.
You can feel the thing without actually doing the retweet.
You don't even have to like it. You could just look at it and be like, yep.
Well, you still got to see the boobs. Like if it says like if you like these tits, like what if I just like the tits and I don't want to like? Who's going to stop me?
Yeah.
You know, are they going to dispatch like an Equifax task force to your house to like shut down your dick? No, like you can just get to look at it.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. We heard that you looked at some boobs on the internet and didn't interact with the post.
And it would have clearly said like hit like if you like these boobs, and it's like, buddy, oh man. It's just, and also when things like that too, whenever this happens again, and this is, I just want to clarify that we've moved far beyond bagging on Bryan. Like this is a general thing.
Absolutely.
But like also like when people do that and they like watch Facebook and it's just somebody showing their tits, like you realize that there's a you can literally see any boob of any type that you want all the time in any context. Like we all carry supercomputers in our pockets that I can show two people doing anything I want who look like anything I want, like all the time. Like you can just like, why are you getting your porn from Facebook? You know, like I don't understand that part of it either.
So, my dude, I just, I use Tweetbot on the Mac, and so I was going through these responses again, right? So I'm going to send you this screenshot, and like, imagine if people were looking up Gary Butterfield, and like they looked up your Twitter profile picture and were like, oh, so this is what Gary likes. Hold on. Upload.
All right. Oh, how do I make it bigger? Open original. There we go.
So for the listeners out there, it's like at the bottom of Tweetbot, you just see like a grid of all of the like, you know, pictures or movies that they've uploaded. It is literally nothing but porn stars.
Yeah. And then there's one awesome picture of some garlic bread and some fucking spinach.
I missed the garlic bread. In my defense, there was a lot of boobs on display, so I missed the garlic bread. But yeah, there's straight up some little garlic bread.
It's like a CAPTCHA, like you prove you're not a bot by checkmarking all of the things here that resemble garlic bread.
Nope, that's belladonna. You failed. You're a robot.
That's actually a focaccia. Like I'm sorry. Yeah, this even his bio too, which is a horny actor looking to make it in movies and TV. Good job, horny actor.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Ooh, yeah. That was. Thank you, Bryan, for introducing us to this
Bryan.
world.
Thanks, B.
Friend of the show, Bryan Wade.
Yeah.
So let's get out of here. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We really appreciate it. We're going to be back in 2 weeks. If you're a Patreon member over at patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv, you can get that episode a week early if you're at the appropriate tier. So next week, you'll be listening to the first episode of season 4 where we covered Love in Vain and A Deal with the Devil. Two not great episodes.
Very weird episodes.
You can keep up with the show at daysoffuturecast/schedule. I believe I've updated that now, so you can go and see what episodes of the show we're going to be covering on what episodes of the podcast. What else, Gary?
If you want to support the network, the best thing you can do is support us on Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv, give us a couple bucks a month. $2 gets you access to, a bunch of stuff. You get a little welcome package and everything. $5 gives you that early release thing. And the rewards just get better as you have more to give. We are fairly close to getting our next show, Heartbeat City, which I would love to have happen. We have to, some people might be like, hey, you guys made that. We did for like 40 minutes. And then somebody's card got declined or something like that. So we have to be a little bit of it, be above it to make it past card declinations and stuff. But we're getting close. I think we'll probably do it this month or next month. We'll probably make it with the kind of 3 steps forward, 2 steps back way that Patreon works for us. So, but if you're listening to this and you don't support us, even $1, like you just get access to Patreon polls and stuff, but it's like, you won't even notice it. Like it'll just be $1 that goes out of your debit account, a month. So it is 3.4 cents a day or something like that. But if everyone who listened to this did this, it would make a big difference. So, you can make a difference even without a lot of money. The other thing you can do is do ratings and reviews. That's very helpful. Go to iTunes, and people have been very kind with those, and we appreciate it. You can also tell people about the show. Those are the big 3 things.
Have they actually been kind? I'm sad to say that I have not recently read any reviews for the show. I haven't looked it up recently. I need to go check it out.
Just in general, I haven't looked it up either. We have, when Cole set up Slack, he set up a thing. There's a channel there that shunts reviews.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Of most. So it doesn't do it at this show because the show came out after he set it up. Yeah, but it show Bonfireside chat reviews and Watch Out for Fireball reviews. Those things pop up in there. Days of Future Cast I have to manually look up.
Yeah.
So I don't always do it, but up until last time I looked, everyone was very nice. And looking at it now, I think that it is still everyone being very nice. So, thanks.
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. You can find me on Twitter at JG Greer. Gary, you are at GARYBUH.
Correct.
Thought so.
And feel free to tweet. Talk X-Men. You can find the show at DOFCcast at Twitter as well. And that's where you can talk specifically about X-Men stuff. Not that you can't tweet either of us, but that's the show's Twitter. And I think that's probably about it.
That's it. We'll see you in 2 weeks with more episodes of the X-Men animated series.
Yeah.
Stop following those porn sites, y'all. Stop following them.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's do it.
Okay.
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where me and Gary cover
Jeremy, I'm not recording. Thank goodness I remember that. I opened the app, but
didn't hit the button.
All right, now I'm recording. There we go. Fuck. Okay. Those. I mean, out of all the things to redo, this would be an easy thing to redo, but I don't want to. So
yeah, it's just
Okay.
What was I saying? I'm Jeremy.
You're saying. Okay, one more time. Yeah.
These are the tales of the birds.
What is going on with all these pill bottles, Jeremy?
Dude, you sound like me. I just every 2 hours, I just walk over to Autumn and like, feed me whatever pills that I'm due right now. She hands me like 3.
I need to get myself an Autumn to.
Yeah, everybody needs an Autumn. Let me tell you.
Like the Amazon Autumn.
Yeah. That's. Okay. I'm gonna have to tell her you said that.
Mm-hmm. Don't tell me I'm dehumanized. Tell her I'm dehumanized her by referring to her as a robot.
Gary said that he wanted a robot version of you. Is that creepy?
I mean, it's creepy. I don't really mean it unless you're into it. Like,
yeah, I mean, you're into it. I'm just kidding, unless you're serious. I'm just kidding, unless you're serious.
Yeah.
These are the tales of the
Zelda's real good.
Zelda's real fucking good, dog.
I wanted to play it more. I've only put in about 2 hours to it, but it's I really, really like it. I can there are a couple of things like dark clouds on the horizon, like that are pretty minor. Like I ran into the big rock golem guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is really hard. This guy one shots me. Should I be able to kill him now? Well, I bet you I can, so I'm going to keep trying until I do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I beat him, and then I was just like, oh, I just got a bunch of gems. Like I don't, this isn't that exciting. Like I would have liked like a cool piece of equipment or something.
I wish somebody had told me that you should totally sell gems and you shouldn't really hang on to them. Like,
okay,
by the time you're going to get to the point that you'll need like gems to upgrade stuff with, like you'll have ready access. Like you'll just know, like, oh, I can just go to the mountain range over there and like bust up these things and get a bunch of gems. Because I held on to mine forever.
Because people have told me not to sell anything.
Oh, see, I didn't. I was poor the entire time. Like, and the number one resource in this game to me, like, is fucking arrows. Like, I want to have arrows all the time, and it just, man, it was just, I was fucking so poor I couldn't afford arrows. It was miserable. So I've like just recently went and sold like all but like 10 or 5 of whatever resource. I didn't sell any diamonds or rubies or sapphires because those seem like relatively rare. But like opals and ambers and all that stuff, I just got rid of that shit.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah. That game is super good. Like that game, having that on my Wii U while I'm playing through fucking Dark Souls 3 DLC is really, really difficult. Because I'm like, I can just be playing Zelda, which is a little bit more rewarding right now. And
I'm going through something very similar to that. I was going to get ahead on assignment play because we're going to that convention in a couple of weeks, and then couldn't because the emulation thing failed, so I had to buy a physical copy of something, which is what bought me some time to play Zelda. So I'm going to get a little bit ahead on that, which is nice.
Yeah, that'll be cool. The other thing about Zelda, shit, I had something I was going to tell you that was going to be like a hint that I can't fucking remember now. Oh well, doesn't matter. If I remember it, I'll shoot it to you or whatever.
Cool. All right, dude.
Have a good.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, and have a good recording.
I will. Talk to you later.
Bye.